this is Sarah with Tenderfoot Village, and in this tutorial we're going to be making this adorable scarecrow gnome. Be sure and check the description box below for a list of supplies that you will need. The first thing I'm doing is removing the wire from the Dollar Tree foam rollers. This is the medium size, and I'm pinching that wire so that it doesn't tear the tubing as I'm pulling it through. Now I'm going to take two wooden dowels that I also got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to twist them into the tube. I'm also doing this so that I don't tear that tubing. Here I'm leaving some extra of that dowel hanging out. I want that to be able to go up inside the body, and that way I can glue it and secure it in place. So I'm just trimming off that excess from that tubing. Now I'm pushing that dowel rod into the pool noodle, and as you can see, I've already pre-wrapped this pool noodle. The material that I use to wrap this pool noodle is like a muslin or a soft knit, jersey knit. So now that I have the legs in place, I'm just adding a little bit more hot glue to kind of reinforce the legs. I'm ready to work on the arms now, so I'm also going to remove the tubing and the wire out of this tubing as well for this particular scarecrow. Now I'm going to cut a hole for the skewer to go through, and I'm just using this skewer to kind of help guide me through evenly. And then I'm going to put these tubes on, the foam rollers on, and measure, and I'm trimming off the excess that's hanging out, and then I'm going to make sure that they're even. Now I'm ready to wrap the body, so I'm going to cut some fabric of choice and then wrap right over that jersey knit. Once I have the body wrapped, I'm going to re-poke through those holes just so that it's easy for me later on. So one of the important things to note right here is I'm not going to hot glue all the way to the edge. I'm only going about 3/4 of the way. And you don't want to apply your faux hay too thick here. You just want kind of a flat row. And this is helpful for when you're rolling it up later, so it's not too thick. So you want to make sure and trim up the sleeve, and then you'll trim the bottom as well. So this is where I made a little mistake, not a big deal. I glued the wrong way. I should have had the sleeve facing the other direction, and the unglued area should be at the top going the other direction. I will show that later where I fix it. Now that I have the hay glued down flat and trimmed, I'm ready to roll up that sleeve. So just applying a good amount of hot glue, a strip. So when I create my sleeves, I want my seams to go the same direction facing down from the front, and this is where I made what my mistake was. And once I start on this next sleeve, I realize it and then begin to repair that. Now I'm making sure my two arms are even. So this part is a little different. I wanted a more finished look when I put this sleeve on there because I knew you'd be able to see it. So I'm applying hot glue inside where that stem, that dowel is, and I'm twisting in the direction that the fabric goes. So for me, it's important that the seam is facing down, and that was what I was showing you right there. I'm also making sure when I stick the arm in, I'm twisting it again in the direction that the material goes, and then making sure to end with that seam facing downward. I'm using a piece of felt now, folded in half, and I'm I marked this line about 4 to 4.5 inches. I believe it's 4 inches, and I'm putting hot glue on the middle part where the crotch of the shorts will be. Once I have that glued in place, then I'm going to go down the legs and then down the side. This is a really important thing to take your time on. You don't want to rush this. Allow this to really dry well, and then once you're ready to turn it over, to turn it right side out, make sure you take your time and don't force it really hard so you don't expose the seams. My little gnome is ready for his pants, so I'm going to go ahead and put those on him, and I like to fold down the top. I like to fold it in, and I just think it makes for a little bit of a clean edge, but you can leave it out also. It would look very cute out as well. It's time to apply his nose and beard, and me personally, I like to use polymer clay and make the noses, but I've used wood ball noses in the past. I'm sorry, wood balls for noses in the past, and they work just fine. So if you don't have polymer clay or can't get any, wood balls work great. Now I'm going to start working on his little shoes, and I'm just kind of getting his pants legs out of the way while I do this. So for the shoes, I like to put in the little hex nuts or just the little nuts, and I put them inside the whatever size will fit inside that baby booty. So I just clipped off a little extra of that foam because I want to make sure that the dowel can sit down inside of those little nuts, and now I'm just securing those nuts into there, and I'm going to begin wrapping my shoes. So I decided to wrap the shoes with a little bit of that tan felt first before I apply the burlap over the top of it. This allows me to hide that pink color. I didn't want it showing through. I'm going to overlap that tan felt just a little bit, and then I'm going to trim off the excess, and then I'm going to trim off the extra from the top, and I'll repeat this on the other shoe and then make sure that they match. I'm going to begin wrapping the shoe with burlap, and I like to start on top of where I left off with the felt. This burlap is between, I think, 2 and 3 inches. My guess would be it's about 2 inches, and I don't cut it down at all. I actually use the excess and just fold it over. Now that I have the burlap on the shoes, I am going to check the position, and then I'm going to add some hot glue to shape them or mold them. And I am going to use clothespins to hold them in place for me. While the shoes are setting up, I'm going to go ahead and glue his little legs in place. I noticed a little spot where the hot glue is showing, so I'm going to use my heat gun and just make that hot glue disappear. I'm going to use some black adhesive foam. This has got the adhesive side facing up, and I'm just tracing one of those booties that I happen to have extra, and just getting an outline so that I can cut out those pieces, and these are going to be on the soles of my shoes. And once I have them cut out, I'm just going to peel that adhesive off and stick it to the bottom of those shoes. Now we're ready to work on the hat, and if you would like a free pattern and mini tutorial for my hat, you can see the description box below for a link, or you can just go over to Facebook and request to join my private Facebook group at Tenderfoot Villagers, and you can find it there as well as some other freebies. So for this little scarecrow, I decided to wrap the hat in twine, and I'm doing about 4 times around, and then I'm hot gluing it little bit by little bit, and I will put it on him and then see how it looks and glue it down in places if I still need to. I'm always making sure to start and finish it at the back of where the seam is, the back of the hat, and then after I'm done doing this, I will cut out some pieces of matching fabric, and I will apply. I want 2 pieces on the hat, so I'm going to cut out 2 pieces and apply them. I like the hat to be kind of scrunched over, so I'm just adding a little bit of hot glue and helping it to set so it'll stay in that scrunched over look that I like. I'm also using my heat gun to kind of hide any of those hot glue marks. It'll make those invisible. And now I'm ready to start finishing everything off, just applying little bits of hot glue where I see it needs it. I'm also going to apply hot glue on the top of the nose to help the hat stay on. I decided he needed a couple more patches, so I just cut out some smaller pieces of fabric and I'm just gluing them wherever I think they'll look cute. I decided to put this other one on the back, on like almost kind of looking like a little patchwork pocket. And he's pretty much done. I do add a couple more things. I add a couple crows, and I'm debating on whether or not to add a little stand for him to be on. We'll see. As always, thanks for watching, and if you get a chance, be sure and check out some of my other videos.